Hello everybody and welcome to another video from my series Quick Thoughts On, in which I always talk about different stories from the rich Star Trek universe. The next episode of Star Trek The Next Generation was called The Arsenal of Freedom, and these are my honest opinions about it. This is one of the episodes which are kind of tough to talk about. There are many things I like about this episode, there are many things I hate about this episode. It starts well. The Enterprise is on its way to solve a mystery, find out what happened to Paul Rice, the captain of the USS Drake, and his ship. They have explored the mysterious planet Minos and suddenly disappeared. The inhabitants of Minos were famous as weapon dealers, but they suddenly all disappeared too. The Drake goes to their planet, they also disappear. So we start with a very good mystery, that's exactly what I like. There is also a personal connection to Rice, he and Riker were good friends from the academy days, and we get some nice backstory for Will. He was offered to be the captain of the Drake, but he instead took the position of the first officer of the USS Enterprise, which is a thing which will be repeated during the series a few more times, by the way, so we have a good mystery and a personal connection. I love the teaser. When they arrive to the planet, something suddenly starts to scan the Enterprise's language database, and somebody contacts them. They are greeted by a peddler, but they soon realize that it's just a recording, so Riker, Tasha and Data beam down to investigate what happened. As I said, I love the teaser. If the writing would keep the quality, this would be my favorite episode of the season. Our OA team finds a phallic-shaped death ray machine thing, but decides to ignore it instead of trying to repair it and later use it for self-defense. Riker suddenly meets somebody who didn't expect, Captain Rice. But Rice is weird. He gives Riker a bunch of very strange questions. He tries to get tactical information from Riker, but this scene is completely ruined. Twice. First, Riker gets a message from the bridge that there is nobody alive down there except for the away team, and then Data and Tasha get there and Data also says that the so-called Rice is not alive. Why couldn't we let Riker find it out on his own? He definitely would find it out within a few minutes, based on where their discussion was going. When Will finally pushes too hard, the image of Rice suddenly transforms into a flying drone and puts Riker into some strange stasis field. Tasha destroys the drone with just one phaser blast, but they have no clue what to do with Riker, or if he's even still alive. The captain and the doctor decide to beam down too, despite Troy having objections, and Data thinks he can destroy the stasis field around Riker with his phaser. Okay, but why does Data shoot at Riker's chest? Wouldn't it be much more logical to shoot, for example, to his feet area? What if the force field collapses earlier than Data expects? Is he willing to take the chance that he will accidentally shoot his superior officer directly to the chest? To be honest, I would be perfectly okay with this scene if, for example, Tasha or the captain would bring this up and Data would reassure them that he will be absolutely certainly able to stop the firing in time, but he doesn't do it. They just assume that Data knows what he's doing, even though when he will do a dangerous thing in a few minutes, they will vocally doubt it. Weird, but okay. Suddenly a second drone attacks. Tasha and Data basically ignore it, so what do our fearless leader do? He runs away like a little schoolgirl, and people wonder why I like Kirk more. He would probably punch the thing to the ground, but at least it's filmed like Picard is just running after Beverly, cause she is the one who runs faster, and when they run far enough, it's hard to tell how far did they run, to be honest. They fall down in a hole in the ground. It's not like the floor collapses beneath them or something like that, they simply fall down to a hole. That's pretty embarrassing, and to be perfectly honest, I can't help myself but I just start laughing every time I see this scene. They find themselves in a room and Crusher is buried below a ton of dirt. How did she manage to get there? It literally looks like she just laid down and somebody threw a lot of dirt on her legs. The director didn't think this sequence through enough, in my humble opinion. Her leg is broken and she has some internal bleeding, and Picard has almost no clue what he is supposed to do, so she starts to instruct him how he should keep her alive. And I must admit, I love this scene. and all of the other scenes between them. Even though I don't like how this scene looks and how did they get there, the acting is great. You can see that both Patrick Stewart and McFadden had rich theatrical experience. This part of the story feels and looks like a stage play, and I truly love it. Tasha has this time problems destroying the second drone, so she has to call Data to help her. The first one got destroyed by one single phaser shot, but this second one needs two phasers firing at it at the same time. It looks like there is a central machine which sends a drone, watches it, analyzes its weaknesses, and in a few minutes creates and sends in a new model, which solves the problem of the previous generation. After the destruction, Data returns to firing at will, and again he fires directly at him. But thankfully he aims the phaser at the soundstage roof, at the sky, precisely at the moment when the force field collapses and Riker is free. Back on the Enterprise, Geordi is in charge, and the Enterprise is being shot by an invisible enemy. They can't destroy what they can't see, but Geordi wants to stay there and fight. Unfortunately, Chief Engineer Logan comes to the bridge and starts arguing with Geordi, with the man who is the acting captain, meaning with his currently superior officer, in front of the other bridge officers. What an asshole. He just wants to become the captain. Why? Well, because he wants it. Seriously, why was this guy written to be a complete asshole? Couldn't they give him at least, some proper motivation? Also, the Enterprise is under attack. Isn't the place of this episode's chief engineer to be in, engineering? Geordi politely tells him to fuck off, and Logan looks like he thinks that Geordi is wrong. If I was the captain, he would be immediately arrested, and if this was, let's say, a Klingon ship, he would probably be dead. Back on Venus, a third drone appears and starts shooting at Data, Tasha and Riker, and this time they need all three phasers to shoot at it at the same time to destroy it. They decide to go search for the captain and the doctor. Meanwhile, Picard tries whatever he can to keep Beverly awake. She gives him a few improvisation ideas and tells him her backstory. This is the first time we hear about Beverly's grandma, so yes, this episode can be seen as a prequel to everybody's favorite episode in which Beverly falls in love with a ghost. Back on the Enterprise, Geordi comes with a bunch of new ideas how to shoot the invisible enemy, but all the shots fired by Worf are failing. So Geordi calls Logan to the bridge. Logan comes with a smug smile on his face, expecting to be promoted to captain, but instead Geordi tells him he wants to separate the saucer section. But first they fly away to safety. And Logan is against it? Why? The last time we have seen him, he was for leaving the away team on the planet and bringing the ship to safety. Why is he such an asshole? But whatever, he will be promoted to the commander of the saucer section, and he's ordered to bring all unessential crew members back to Starbase 103. So Geordi, the commander of the Star Drive, will bring his half of the ship back to Venus. Chancellor Troy, despite being in action, finds the time to tell him that he should be a father figure to the junior bridge officers Solis and Tsu, like Picard is a father figure to Geordi and all the others. Well, that was pointless, but I guess we needed something to give her to do. While Picard tries desperately to keep Beverly awake, he stumbles across a piece of electronic equipment. It's a wall-sized computer, and when he manages to start it, because of course he can start a computer which wasn't used in centuries and was created and operated by an unknown race, a hologram of the salesman from the beginning appears boasting about their newest weapon. It looks like the computer has decided that it needs to show the capabilities of the weapons to everybody on the planet, and of course above the planet. And the name of the weapon system? Echo Papa 607. Am I the only one who thinks that this sounds more like a login to a porn site and not like a weapon system? After a small chat with the hologram, we are hinted what happened to the Minosians. It looks like they were destroyed by their own creation. Meanwhile, Tasha, Data and Riker found a hole, and Data jumps down. Suddenly they hear that the system has generated a new generation of the drone, and will launch it any moment, so they need to quickly come up with a plan. They are considering things like changing the target, but it takes a wounded doctor to come up with the idea of simply shutting it down. So Picard tells the salesman that there is no more need for a demonstration because they are buying, and the happy merchant disappears together with the drone. The communication is now also functioning, so Picard can safely call the Enterprise, but Geordi doesn't have time for beaming them up right now. Why? Because for some reason the drone which attacks the Enterprise did not disappear after the demonstration officially ended. But why? I don't get it. Is the plot hole? Or did I miss something? But Geordi has a great idea. He flies the ship to the atmosphere, the invisible drone follows them and becomes visible, so the Enterprise can destroy it and beam the away team back on board. But Picard lets Geordi in command until they meet with the saucer section. As I said, there are many good things about this episode, there are also many bad things about this episode. Let's start with the positives. Geordi looks great as the commanding officer. LeVar Burton has a terrific presence on screen. It just feels right to see him make decisions and not just wasting his time behind the console. I can't wait till season 2 where they finally made him an officer and put him in charge of engineering. As I said before, the scenes with only Picard and Crusher are for me the complete highlight of the episode. It really feels like I'm watching a play on stage, and I mean it as a compliment. They have a very good chemistry on screen. It's a pity that they didn't have a romantic relationship in the show. I remember when I was watching the show for the first time, I was always hoping for them to end up together, and they ended up like that in the very last episode. I also love how the Doctor is now put into a position of a patient, and that her life is now in the hands of a man who has no clue what he's doing. He basically has to keep her alive using only his Starfleet training he had as a cadet and the information he managed to get out of her. That to me is real drama, not that fake crap with people screaming at each other for no apparent reason. I also really like the design of the drones and overall the effects in this episode, especially in HD. The footage of the model is just beautiful. It's a pity the producers of Discovery didn't ask Andrew Probert to design the ships for the new show. The ships he designed are just gorgeous. And the bad? Well, it feels like 2 or maybe even 3 episodes manually joined together. It feels like they started to do a mystery episode, and halfway through they got bored and changed it into an adventure story. For example, in the beginning we get so much information about Captain Rice, like he's going to be the main guest character, but we haven't even seen him if you don't count the hologram. Also, the reason why they went to Minos was that they wanted to find out what happened to Rice and his starship. But what did happen to the Drake? Were they destroyed by something Papa something, or were they conserved in the stasis energy fields? Is the crew still kept somewhere in stasis? The script completely forgets the storyline after Riker gets attacked. By the way, what's the point of these energy fields? Why would a weapon try to conserve the victims instead of killing them? To get information? What information can the weapon system get? I mean, they didn't get anything out of Riker, and still the drones found the Enterprise and the away team without any problem. So why was that even a thing? Also, how does the hologram know who Riker is and what's his ship named, and at the same time not know his first name? When I've seen this episode for the first time, I assumed that the real Rice is still somewhere kept alive, plugged somehow to the weapon system, and that the system reads his mind and that he intentionally managed to quote-unquote forget some things like his friend's first name as a warning to Riker that it's not really him and that they will rescue him in the end or something. That would make sense, but the story simply forgets he even existed. So how to rate it? On my standard scale from 0 to 10, where 0 is complete crap, 10 is a masterpiece, and 5 is just average, I would give this episode 6 out of 10. It's definitely above average, but I have simply way too many problems with the story to give it a better score. But as always, these were just my opinions. Feel free to write your opinions down in the comment section. If you enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up button. If you have some free time, feel free to check any of the other videos you can find on my channel, and see you this weekend with more videos like this. Thank you very much for watching and see you soon. Bye.